They called her La Reina del Silencio, the Queen of Silence. But his silence was not weakness. This was his biggest weapon. She spoke only when it mattered, and her every word could change the balance of power in a world ruled by men and violence. She was the woman who defeated every gangster, played the law like a piano, and turned blood into gold. Her story begins not with luxury, but with loss, fear, and fire. Born in a dusty town in northern Mexico, Isabela Fuentes grew up watching her mother work double shifts to put food on the table. Her father disappeared when she was just 6 years old. Rumor had it that he was caught smuggling for a local cartel and was executed when the deal went wrong. Poverty early taught Isabela a truth. Survival is not about strength, it is about strategy. He realized that lightning is not always fast. Sometimes it whispered, and one day she promised herself that she would never be powerless again. As a teenager, Isabela was talented but invisible. He excelled in school, but opportunities were few. When her mother fell ill, Isabela abandoned her studies and took up odd jobs. Cleaning, selling food, anything that would pay a few pesos. During those desperate years, she met Carlos Fuentes, a low-level cartel smuggler who saw something different in her. Not beauty, but intelligence. He married her at the age of 19, and she entered a world that most women feared. Carlos trusted him with small tasks, handling cash, hiding documents, making coded phone calls. But Isabela was not satisfied with the works. She wanted to understand everything. Where the money came from, how it went, how it disappeared. She studied quietly, noticing patterns in the chaos. Soon he realized that the cartel was like a living organism, predictable, emotional, and reckless. Men pursued fear and respect, but Isabela pursued control. Then, one violent night, everything changed. Carlos was ambushed on a deserted road outside Reynosa. His car was riddled with bullets. Cartel blames rivals. Isabela did not blame anyone. She did not cry at the funeral. She kept looking. He heard. She remembered the faces of the men who, whispering behind her back, were already distributing her husband's money. She thought she would break down. Instead, she disappeared for 3 months. When she returned, she was not the same woman. She was cooler, faster, and ready. He quietly began to rebuild, contacting old partners, renegotiating supply lines, fixing the mistakes Carlos had made. His methods were unconventional. He did not use threats or bribes. He used logic. It offered steady profits, guaranteed passage, and discretion. Rival cartels who had once fought each other began to trust his judgment. In less than 2 years, Isabela's name began to circulate in hushed tones. She was not afraid of her cruelty. She was frightened because of her unpredictability. Every major cartel had one thing in common: they underestimated them. Leaders mocked her by calling her La Viuda Inteligencia, the clever widow. They laughed at his charm, but soon they realized that his charm was a facade. He used every stereotype against them. When they underestimated him, he discovered their weaknesses. She listened as they flirted. She smiled when he threatened. And when that moment came, he struck. One by one, the people who mocked him began to disappear. Some were arrested, some were killed, some disappeared altogether. Isabela did not pull the trigger, he pulled the strings. He began building a personal intelligence network, drivers, secretaries, even girlfriends of cartel members, who kept him informed on everything. Every secret he collected became a weapon, and when someone crossed him, he did not have to kill them. He simply revealed a secret and let chaos do the rest. But power always attracts attention. Soon, Isabela sets her sights on Don Arturo Herrera, Mexico's oldest and most brutal kingpin. He summons her to his mansion. A test, a warning, maybe even a trap. Most would have been frightened. Isabela arrived alone, dressed in plain clothes with no guards accompanying her. Arturo feared fear. Instead, he saw confidence. She spoke calmly, outlining a plan that could double his profits without firing a single bullet. At first, he laughed. Then he heard. By the end of the meeting, the old king had made up his mind. He had begun to respect her. Within a few months, Isabela became Arturo's most trusted advisor. But he never trusted him. She kept records of every shipment, every payment, every secret. He learned that power is temporary, but knowledge is eternal. His files were his fortress. And as the years passed, she quietly transitioned from Arturo's advisor to his equal. When Arturo died suddenly of a heart attack during a private dinner, whispers spread that Isabella had poisoned him. No evidence ever surfaced, but by the next week she was in charge. Not through bloodshed, through precision. He predicted every step before it happened, and in a world built on fear, she became a woman whose name people were afraid to even speak. His empire extended from Mexico to Miami, from Bogota to Berlin. They expanded beyond drugs to logistics, cybercrime, and money laundering on a global scale. He turned smuggling into a science. No showy violence, no anarchy. Their operations were cleaner than corporate business, and this made him invisible. Governments could not catch him because on paper his empire did not exist. But throughout all her success, Isabella lived like a ghost. She was rarely seen in public, never used the same phone twice, and trusted no one. It is said that his mansion in Guadalajara had terror rooms in the form of cells and a private escape tunnel under the pool. Every mirror, every shadow reminded him that one mistake could end everything. Power had made him untouchable, but it had also made him lonely. Then came the betrayal. One of his top lieutenants, Miguel Torres, a man he picked up from the streets, sold intelligence to the DEA in exchange for protection. This could have been his end, but Isabella was already 3 steps ahead. She gave false information to Miguel, knowing he would trade it. When the DEA raided the locations mentioned by him, they found nothing. Instead, Miguel's name was leaked back to the cartel, and within days he was gone. Isabella didn't even lift a finger. She simply watched as her enemies destroyed each other. That's when he took his boldest step yet. Isabella initiated direct negotiations with U.S. intelligence officials, presenting files on rival cartels, corrupt generals, and even foreign networks. She became both a hunter and an informant. The agencies believed that they were controlling him. What she didn't realize was that she was rewriting the balance of power, using them to eliminate her competition. In just 5 years, the old drug family collapsed. The once feared Sinaloa bosses were either captured or killed. Their operations were mysteriously seized, their accounts frozen. Behind every fall, there is a whisper. The Queen did it. She never came forward, never talked, but his fingerprints were everywhere. She had become a ghost in the machine. And then she disappeared. One night, Isabella's entourage left a safe house outside Monterrey and disappeared into the desert. The next morning, his mansion was empty. The safes were cleaned. His digital records were erased. The authorities celebrated, believing that she had escaped or been killed. But within a few months, new shell companies began to spring up in Dubai, Singapore, and Zurich, all traced to an anonymous owner. The action continued. Profit doubled. Some say she is alive, living quietly under a new identity, managing a network of legitimate businesses. Others believe that she is still running global business while sitting behind a computer screen, untouched and unseen. Some insist that he made a final deal with American intelligence, freedom in exchange for permanent silence. Whatever the truth, one fact is indisputable. No one has been able to match his accuracy, his patience, or his ability to disappear without leaving any shadow. Today, when agents detect a shipment that seems too perfect or a network that collapses overnight, they whisper his name, La Reina del Silencio, Queen of Silence. So what really happened to Isabella Fuentes, the queen who turned cartels into corporations, who played both sides of the law and disappeared without a trace? Did she run away with billions? Is she still there, silently moving the pieces? Or does he finally find peace in the shadows he once ruled? Perhaps this is the real genius of Isabella Fuentes. Not that she defeated every kingpin, but that she defeated history itself. Because when power changes, the loud ones are remembered, but the silent ones, they never die.